For plebs, by plebs, dropping the Bitcoin-only signal. Pleb Underground. Welcome everyone to the Pleb Underground.
Pleb Underground, we're back for 89, almost at a round, sit back while I opine. Integrity forever in my plans, achieving more than OnlyFans. I choose death over dishonor. Nietzsche didn't teach us about death of the designer. Your mind is much like Play-Doh. Mine is more like Plato. Analyzing BT, we say FUG potato. Wouldn't find my girls in a centerfold, but I've got the pictures when I enter, hold her down like paper sales, check gold. Price drops fast like a good girl told. Trying to collect coin, I'm a Mario type. Drag infidels, don't want to marry your type. Look like a horse with new shoes to the farrier hype. Bitcoin is an open network, it's a low barrier type. This is orange, not green or blue money. I'm looked after by me, not you, honey. Bitcoin rules everything around me, woo money. Louboutin, and I'm not talking shoe money. Fiat will ghost you, I call it boo money. Can't sit around, no boo-hoo money. Ain't no second best, nor third money. Magic internet forever, I love nerd money. Not nouveau riche, so don't need to show money. They get divorced, she splits her so's money. Work for yourself, gotta get your money. Want to start up, gotta get go money. Studio time, work for that flow money. I run the lightning, got that back and forth money. Cash going soon, you can't even fold money. Gotta stack those sats, gotta hold money. Want catch flow, though, or life is a toll. Funny, how she likes the cane, I call her rolled money. Caught in a spin with the devil, that's Taz. Calls me the Fresh Prince, but she likes jazz. I'll teach you. Rinse, this ain't Raz or Khan Academy. What have I done? Why you mad at me? This ain't mumble rap, that's inaudible. I make space for the builders, wall to wall. If she don't do squat, you should work to develop her. If she squats, she could be a good back-end developer. Growing up, I was a high performer, but I spent too long as a high performer. And now I go long from the high, perform her fancies until I'm done. Bye-bye, enormous. Haters want to call me cheesy, but it's them that's pleasy. It's them that's cheesy, mozzarella. There's a ball and they're not the Bella. Some just want to cork Asian girls. Some just want Caucasian girls. Some girls loud, beckon you, yeller. Some just want a cash machine, automated teller. As a kid adamant, I'm Wolverine, but now with laser eyes, it's a Cyclops scene. Still a few SDs from the mean. Fear is a drug from which you gotta wean. There's lots in the middle. They'll always buy pop. Operation Cypherpunk is my psy-op. OGs traveled through the valley of the shadow of death. No longer need a career. Call him Kim Jong Junseth.
Absolute fire, Walton. And that's right, guys. In case you don't know who's joining us, we've got fellow Bitcoiner and host of what I believe to be one of the most amazing Bitcoin podcasts that ever existed, Bitcoin Uncensored. That's right, Junseth. That's right. You're going to get some love right at the beginning.
Well, I really liked,
thank you so much.
I really liked Walton's rap, especially like where he says, not Jew money. I like that part a lot. And then I like where he rhymed money with money a lot. Those were like the best parts. Did you write that yourself, Walt? Did you write that yourself, Walt?
I write all these myself, but I was doing something new here, and like if you listen,
I liked it.
I don't think that's what he said.
I think it is.
It's the syllables in before money were rhyming as well, but
anyway. Then I like where you called it Louis Vuitton.
No, I was saying Louis
Vuitton.
Louboutin, but I was saying it as Louboutin because
Louboutin. Louboutin. See that?
I was deliberately mispronouncing it.
I'm a connoisseur. I'm a connoisseur rap. You're a regular English P. Diddy. You know what I mean?
I don't appreciate that. No.
I think everybody can tell what type of episode this is going to be. I think everybody got the feel here.
What you Diddy in your own time is up to you, sir.
No Diddy. It was good though. It was fun. Anyway, thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite, and I hope that the episode is good.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be lots of fun. Dude, I think it's going to be lots of fun. I'm so excited to have you here. There's so many questions I want to ask you. But before we dive into all that, that's right, guys, we are going to move it on over to the numbers.
The numbers, of course, brought to us by Time Chain Stats and Time Chain Calendar.
Number Wang.
Phil, what are the numbers look like this week?
We might just have to leave all that in. All right. At the time of this recording, the block height is 845,941. The Bitcoin fiat exchange, 67,407. The amount of Big Macs that you can get for one Bitcoin, 13,088. Total public Lightning capacity, 4,924. Fastest fee, 77 sats per VBIT. Whoa. The hell happened?
Whoa, it spiked
they must
again?
be minting. I guess they're minting some garbage. Anyways, Moscow time, 1483. Yep, those are the numbers. Junseth, what are your thoughts on the? I feel like you got kind of happy with the Big Macs number.
Well, I was just thinking about like the possibility of going into, like, you can't really. There's not a lot of McDonald's that would accept Bitcoin, but I suppose you could go to El Salvador, and I just think it would be really funny to like go to El Salvador and walk into a McDonald's and order 13,000 Big Macs.
I agree. And you know what?
No.
If we have any Bitcoiners from El Salvador that watch the show, could you let us know if you could buy Big Mac? No? Okay, no.
No, apparently the
Walton's
Bitcoin broke in McDonald's. You didn't hear about this? No, apparently the Bitcoin, like I think is it Open Node? I don't know who's the service provider is, but it broke, and apparently you can no longer buy McDonald's with Bitcoin in El Salvador. It was a thing for a bit, and then some tourist scam, and then it no longer works. It's like the Olympics in some countries. It was just just a marketing stunt.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I know we're surprised. Sorry?
Yeah, well, I mean, El Salvador is a first-rate, first-world country, so I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt. Walton, what are we looking at over here?
It's a shithole country.
Looks like some time chain calendar. Walton, what are you talking about? They got papusas.
Yeah, look, this is a beautiful time chain calendar, huh? Look at that time chain calendar.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Do we have our own logo on this thing?
Yeah, look. You can have your own
this?
time chain calendar. Yeah, like if you're a wizard, you can create your own time chain calendar. You can
Junseth,
add your logo.
Do you use time chain calendar? You should.
Nope.
You should.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured why not.
Well, I will then.
Look. It looks really cool. And it gives you a whole lot of info in a nice, neat little visualization about what's going on the network right now. Shout out to TC for that one. Shout out to TC. All right, let's take a look at some numbers articles. Here we go.
Number wang. That's for you, Walton. English fuck. Walton, do you like guns?
No comment.
Fucking English people.
I like guns, and I like money.
I just have no opinion. They don't mean anything in my life right now.
I don't know. I have no idea. Don't you want one? They go bang.
Yeah, I get the appeal. But I can stack more sats not buying guns as well. So
I see that
trade-offs.
Okay, we're trying to offer people value here.
Well, not having an empire, I guess, makes you,
value guns.
No. not value them.
Not value guns. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of value, everybody could feel a whole lot worse about their stacking right now, or maybe you'll feel a whole lot better. Depends how hard you stacked or whatever. Anyways, here we go. Tweet from River. Need a good stacking goal? We looked at the average wealth people have by age group today and converted that to Bitcoin. But if you own any Bitcoin, you may already be further along than 90% of the people. All right. So I'm not going to point to my age group, but people already can figure that out because they know I'm a Gen Xer. But
wait, but that's not actually how much people Bitcoin they have. That's
what they need to have.
Average wealth converted into Bitcoin.
Yes.
Interesting.
To be in these groups. And look at those numbers. Not gonna lie. I don't know, man. 80 plus to be in the top 50%. Got 13
Europeans
Bitcoin.
Are poor. This is what I'm learning right now.
Look at how the 80 plusers are poorer than
this is US centric. This is specific to US, not global.
It's the only data that matters.
Okay, maybe.
Otherwise, it would be an uninteresting chart. It would be like 1/10 of a Bitcoin, top 1%.
Yeah, exactly. But it is interesting, and it also kind of makes me feel bad because I'm like, damn, I need to stack harder if I want to get into those special ranks. You know?
Yeah. What are
That's
you're in the what 30 to 34 age group?
Oh, dude, you're so sweet. Thank you so
And
much.
then
I'm an old.
Walton's what 60 to
I'm in the
64?
dude. I'm in the
Oh yeah, I'm
45,
full on boomer, bro.
45 to 49, my dude. I just turned 45 a couple of weeks ago.
Send me your
Hey, you need
lotioning
21
regimen.
Bitcoin, Phil, to be in the top 10% then.
What was that, Junseth?
Send me your lotioning regimen. I'd like to
Dude,
know what
look,
you
this
do.
is. I'll tell you what I learned when I was a kid. I was told good genes and good luck. I don't think I have either of those, but something is fucking working, and I'm just not touching it. Right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think I'm doing anything, to be honest. Let's be fair. I'm not doing anything. All right, moving on from this depressing chart of me not having enough Bitcoin at my age. All right. So, yeah, if you're worried about the US dollar, right, losing its purchasing power, the Naira is down bad. Down bad. Anyways, so here we go. Tweet from Gladstein.
Naira. Oh man, I was about
Yeah,
to
dude.
put all my money into that currency.
Ah,
When
man.
you say down bad, you mean like there's teeth involved?
I don't know if there's teeth involved, dude, but all I could say is that joke went over my head. I just know that their money is worthless.
Joke, you know what I mean? I got it, Walton. It's not.
At least one of us got it, because I don't get a lot of jokes, and Walton's jokes are often way too smart for me. I'm on the left side of
I
the
wouldn't say it's a
curve.
smart joke. I think it's more of a blowjob joke.
So then just imagine.
So
if you had to explain it. Anyways.
For all the people listening.
Absolutely. And me, of course.
I feel like there's a lot of humor on the show that you don't even know goes in. That's like not, it's bad humor, but dirty.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I mean, look, it is Pleb Underground. Okay, it is Pleb Underground. So we offer a mix.
I see that Junseth sucks dicks. I saw that right there. I saw that. Did you put that there, Walton? That's good. I like that. It's incidentally, it's true. Did you look at it? Did you see? You didn't see that.
It was so fast. It was so fast. It's okay, but it's all recorded. It's all recorded.
It's right at the bottom. Oh, right where I like it.
Walton, Junseth is never going to come back on the show if we keep treating him like this.
Yeah, you better.
This is the only show he will return to because we don't treat him as if he's too special. Like he doesn't want the Pedro treatment every week.
You don't want to be treated special. Just get married. Your wife will think you're fucking.
This guy knows. This guy knows. That's right, man.
Justin, you're like, clean the dishes. Justin Bieber's wife says that to him.
If you ever want to find, out how ordinary and unimportant you are, yep, just get married.
Or talk to any woman.
Is that a Trezor hat? It's killing me. I've been looking at it the whole time. The red is just blaring out.
It's a Tudor hat for Tudor watches. I thought I'd advertise for them today to help my watch collection go up in value. They're made by Rolex, and they're made by robots. So unlike Rolex, they're made well, but by robots instead of people. So,
interesting. All right, so maybe Tudor's a life hack for the watch connoisseur. Guys, let us know what you think about Tudor watches. Are you a watch fan? Let us know. Put it in the comments. Guys, that's going to wrap up the numbers, and we're going to move it on over to the Fireside Chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's my part.
The Fireside Chat is brought to you by BTC Pins. Check them out at btcpins.com. Use the code PlebUnderground for 5% off awesome pins. Boom. That's right. The pin collection. 5% off. Use the code PlebUnderground at btcpins.com. Welcome back, everyone. That's right. It's the Fireside Chat, and we are diving into it with Junseth. Now, there are a lot of noobs who do not know. That's right. They don't know who you are. Okay. So
good for them.
I mean, is it good for them? I don't know about that. You guys, look, you and Krista Rose taught me a lot. back in the day, even though you didn't know you were teaching me. So I'd like you to, if you can, please, a little bit, like if you can somehow give a summary of the rabbit hole story, but then I want to get into some Bitcoin Uncensored with you.
Sure. Well, I don't know what the rabbit hole story is, but
How you got
you just
into
want me to
Bitcoin
introduce
and
myself? Okay,
yeah,
so
absolutely, all that good stuff.
I got into Bitcoin many years ago. I was actually working at a marketing company in New York, and I got an email from Harrow, help a reporter out, and there was this reporter asking for information on this thing that they'd found online called Bitcoin. I think I went back and looked at the email. It was like a week after Pizza Day. So I came in to Bitcoin, got into the BTC talk forums, didn't really participate much, just kind of was a lingerer, and just watched and got really excited. I was an anarchist at the time, so I was stupid like most of the Bitcoiners who come late. And I just thought it was like we were going to take down the government and whatever. And that was I think Bitcoin was around 16 or 18 cents at the time. It was very cheap. Bitcoin was a different world. But what's interesting about it more than anything is I felt like I was really late to the party, and I like
So
I'd
does
missed out
everyone,
on
right?
every. Well,
Okay,
my
Wow.
point is that everybody feels that way, but I
what
felt that
year
way
was that?
then.
What year was that?
I
Just
don't know,
for
2010, 2011.
guys,
That was fucking
It's a
crazy.
long
he was
time ago.
late to the fucking party in 2010.
That's how I
Okay, so
felt.
everybody
That's how I
stop
felt.
crying. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, I felt like I was late to the party. I felt like I had come into this thing that like had already like metastasized, and that I don't know how many people were in the forum, maybe a few thousand, but I felt like I had been that I was not part of those initial community members, and that I was just completely like that I'd missed out. It's a weird feeling to remember, because I know that I hear that from people today, and they articulate what they feel, and it's exactly what I felt. Like I felt no different. I felt completely late, which is interesting, at least for me to look back on, because given the number of years now that have passed, and people will refer to me as an OG. I never felt that's a status that's conferred on you over time.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I ever felt. I never felt like I was an OG, and I don't feel like an OG. Um, I was a poor kid sleeping on an air mattress, and into this anarchist shit, and that was it. And I don't know where people are today, but that was the feeling of the sort of imposter syndrome that I had then was palpable. And I hear people say the same thing today. So, just wait. You want to be an OG, wait long enough, and then people just start saying that you are. It's just
dude, I think I think that's an important perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that. So I gotta ask you, how did it happen that you guys that you and Krista Rose started Bitcoin Uncensored? How did that come about?
Well, so what happened with Bitcoin Uncensored originally was, we were involved in this thing called Counterparty. And Counterparty, we were heavily involved. We were enjoying it. It was fun. It
Shitcoin.
was
Yeah.
sure, maybe, but I would say if you don't understand Counterparty, you don't understand Bitcoin. It's an important thing to
That's
like
fair.
dive into functionally and to understand what was built. So we were doing Counterparty, and what happened is we were asked by one of the members of Counterparty to do this. Well, Chris was asked to do this update. At the time, I really wasn't a public Bitcoiner at all, to do this update, and he was going to do the Counterparty update every week, and he asked Chris to do the outro, I think, basically just to do like a few minutes at the end of the show. And at the time, Chris and I were the head of the Bitcoin meetup down here in South Florida, so we were running that. And it was, Chris came to me and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said no, because I said I don't. I have my own stuff. I do other things, and I said that the show would get, if I was on it, if we did it together, the show would be very popular, and what would happen is everyone would start listening to the end of the show and not listen to the other, and we would just start becoming more and more of the show. And we were on the Let's Talk Bitcoin network at the time. So Chris, and I told him that would be a problem for me, because I don't want to be obligated to an audience. So Chris promised me that he would never require that I be obligated to the audience if I did it. And that was enough. Like, so I said, okay, I'll do it with you. And sure enough, it started out as 5 minutes of the show. Then all the comments were like, "Oh, I like the two guys at the end. It's the only good part of the show." And then it became 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and then 40 minutes. And Adam Levine didn't like the swearing on the show, so he kept cutting it down. And like this was supposed to be a 5-minute segment, and we would record like 40 minutes for the thing, and it was just filled with us swearing. And you could tell because the cut we just submit it, and then the cuts would come in. It would just be this kind of awkward, like 40-minute show compacted into like 12 minutes or something like that. And we made them listen to it all. And it got revealed that there was more show than they were putting on there, that we'd put like 45 minutes together and they're only putting on a few minutes, and they were editing all the swear words. So we put up Bitcoin Uncensored as a means of putting that entire show up so that people could hear the last, everything we recorded instead of just the edited version of it. And that was why it was called Uncensored, is because Levine kept censoring the swear words. So we frankly wanted to make fun of him, because that was kind of the premise of the show. Make fun of everything. Yeah, so that's the beginning.
You just blew my mind. Like that is absolutely
well,
awesome.
I think most people don't know that history. You can go listen to the old episodes of Counterparty, of the Counterparty Chit Chat. Like we literally started as 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and each time, like we recorded, the first time they wanted 5, so we recorded 10, and the next time it was inevitable. Like we couldn't not record double the amount, and then the show kind of settled out around 3.5 hours a week is about what the show really ultimately turned into, as a 3.5 hour show, just from the news of Bitcoin, what there was to talk about and everything. It's just how long it was.
So okay, so I gotta ask, because I noticed that you guys would be interviewing some, obviously pretty predominant people in the space, right, so to speak, shitcoiners and stuff like that. And I noticed a pattern where, I don't know if you did this intentionally, but you would dismantle their use cases in asking them questions. Like it was very this like unassuming, like you would ask them like something that was just, like it didn't, it wouldn't even come across as like something that they should fear answering, but in answering that question, they would just completely unravel and dismantle their use cases for their shitcoins. And I just have to ask you, like, was that by design, that you were just I guess what I'm asking is, at the time, were you at all like supportive of altcoins, or like, I guess I'm just trying to get like your framing at the time, like where you were in the journey. Like, were you already like, yeah, it's Bitcoin's the only real thing and everything else is a fucking scam and we're going to expose all these motherfuckers, or this was just happening kind of organically?
Well, honestly, we didn't. Sorry, we were just two guys in Florida having fun. I never thought about the fact that there was people listening. I never asked for numbers or anything. I didn't even know the show was really big. I just thought we'd sit there and like, shit on a mic. And I didn't know the numbers were big until like the block size war was happening. And we we would have people fly down to try to ask us to like support one side or the other. And we'd like, oh, we want a free meal. And so they take us out to dinner. It was a big show. I just didn't like, it was just two of us sitting in a room, fucking around, and then 30, 40 people would be listening at a time, and then it would get disseminated. And I like, Chris knew the numbers. I think I really didn't. And
how was the food? Like, tell it on more.
Well, they usually let us pick the restaurant, so we just go to Flanagan's. We like Flanagan's. If you've ever been to Florida, Flanagan's is the place.
I don't know what Flanagan's is. Is it like an Irish bar?
You're missing out. It's an Irish bar.
Oh, okay.
It's a little chain. Yeah.
And so, like, you're drinking a dinner? Is that the deal?
No, we like hot wings. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, little hot wings.
Oh, so like sports bar.
Yeah.
I've never been. I'm in Florida, but I've never been to Flanagan's.
You've never been to Flanagan's?
No.
Oh, you're missing out. It's good.
I only moved here 2 years ago, so
that's where we'd make them take us to Flanagan's. We'd like get a pitcher of beer and some wings and shit.
Hey, Junseth, like
I'd get a gay
Phil
salad.
Really like,
which is probably what Walton eats.
Phil's not really doesn't really get out of his house much. Like, would you take him on like a what do you call it, like a day release kind of like program, like to Flanagan's? Like, I think it would be good for him. Like, would you mind doing that?
Are you North Florida or South Florida?
Central.
In the middle.
I'm in Central.
Like Jacksonville area?
No. That's like north, isn't it?
Orlando?
Like, yeah.
No, Walton. That's a different state.
Jacksonville's like North Florida.
Dude,
I wouldn't go there.
Florida's
Orlando's
huge.
sucks.
No, well, you don't want to go there.
Florida's huge. People
There's
don't
like
really realize.
jaguars there. They're gonna like eat you.
America's got a huge cock.
Yeah, it's called Florida.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how far away everything was.
Orlando's in a completely different state. I wouldn't go there. It's like
that's how far away we are from each other.
It's like 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
6 hours by my driving. 4 hours by most people's. Or I could take a train.
These things called
the Sunrail.
I could take an airplane. It's $80. I'm not spending that.
No.
To go to Flanders.
I'm definitely not worth it. I promise you that. So
you can work out the details. Maybe like you guys go with Apex. I feel like that would be.
He's right now. He looks like he's
that's
outside.
what we should talk about, right? Like,
yes.
How come Apex is the only one honored by the follow of Butt Dickerson? Like, is it because Apex likes Dick in the Butterson? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, that guy regularly, he'll chat me and he'll say, "Hola, Senor Butt," and I found that very funny. So I just
leave it up to Apex. I couldn't believe it.
Wait, so you don't actually know Apex? You never met this guy? You never met this guy?
I've never met him.
This is hilarious.
What?
This is like ridiculous.
I thought you knew Apex. I thought like maybe you guys hang out. He's in Miami. Like I was like, I figure like maybe you guys go to dinner regularly.
He just messages me regularly. Hola, Senor Butt.
I think that's sending drinks to people. Like I figured like this was like a thing. It's like you guys just like take over places.
I think Hola, Senor Butt is the funniest thing that anyone's ever said to me, and he says it all the time. And I just like Hola, Senor Butt. And I read that and I lost my shit. So I had to follow somebody because, it's Twitter. I don't want to follow nobody. So I followed Apex.
I think that this is a great lesson for everyone. Okay. I really do. Everyone should really take note.
Tina called me up, Bitcoin Tina, goes, "Why aren't you following me?" And I was like, why do you like,
you're not missing
follow
much.
one person.
Don't worry.
No, like the thing is your experience of Twitter is very different than mine because I only follow this one guy. So everyone tells me about all the things they see on Twitter. I see nothing. I see I'm screaming into a void. That's how I feel with Twitter. I really like it.
You're actually not screaming into a void. A lot of people follow you, Butt Dickerson. So, and speaking of which, let's take a look actually at one of your tweets.
I'm thinking of taking over American Hodl's account. By the way, just
does he know that? Does he know that?
No.
Okay.
But I might do it
It's
anyway.
kind of funny that like he's kind of like seemingly more well known because I feel like he just kind of copied your character. Like he kind of just like.
Well, he would tell you. He would tell you that.
It's like he's like Junseth SV. Like.
Let me tell you something. I had rules of fame. I had rules of fame for Chris, and they're things I know to be true. And one of them is fame is like gas. You have to keep putting it in the car in order to keep it running. And if you stop putting it in the car, you stop being famous. Unless you're like Justin Bieber famous or something like that, then it takes a long time because there's a lot of gas in that car. But honestly, like, this is Bitcoin fame. So what is it, like 87, 97 people know who I am from those days? It's small. And so Hodl came. The later you come to Bitcoin, the later you become known, the more people know you. And I jumped the shark by that point. So as one Bitcoiner says to me regularly in Clubhouse, my best work was behind me already. So now I'm just waiting for the grave. Yep.
Yeah, just like they say, some
sitting here waiting for death.
some people get buried at 75, but they die at 25.
Right, that's me. I died years ago.
No, what are you talking about? Now you're living. You're living.
What's that? I'm drinking.
I said, now you're living. Now. Sorry.
Now I'm drinking kombucha.
Oh, nice. So also, there's some big news, right? There's some big news in
kombucha.
Does he? I'm not a fan of kombucha.
I can't stand the stuff.
Surprises me. I like it. It's like drinking apple cider vinegar.
That's
awful. I'm having a baby.
Yeah,
so baby Junseth. That's right.
So, Junseth, of all the people, I noticed. So
and it's going to be called Baby Dickerson. You're going to call your kid Baby Dickerson.
Baby Butt.
Baby Butt Dickerson.
That's right.
Please explain the doxing. Please explain this thread, sir.
Well, so I
It looks
had
like
a
you set
number of
up a
Bitcoiners.
registry.
Yeah. Well, I have a number. We have a registry, so I have a number of Bitcoiners who said they wanted to contribute, and we don't need it. I'm not, I'm an old Bitcoiner. Like I don't need anyone to give me like baby stuff, but I don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And if people want to give, I am happy to receive gifts. I'm very accepting gift receiver, and also very happy to give them. So, but
That's what she.
yeah. So I had people asking if they could contribute, and so it's just easier because someone asked me, they were saying that's really weird, and I said, well, like these aren't people that a lot of the people that have told me this or who've talked to me, they're not people that I know in real life because this is Bitcoin. It's not real life. It's a simulation. And I know them through Twitter. So like I've had people contact me on Twitter or Telegram and ask. So Twitter just was a really simple way. So I tweeted that out, let people know where they could send stuff if they wanted to, give them a link to the registry. And the address is a virtual box. It's not my home. I don't even pick up the mail there. So you won't even see me if you staked it out.
Yeah, I was getting worried, especially after the tweet I saw 2 weeks ago about the conversation that you had. So just so you know, I have been getting that phone call after 3 p.m. for a few months.
Nice.
I just keep blocking every single number.
Hodl had a point the other day. If every Bitcoiner who knew what the scam was started hitting one and kind of conversing with these people, the scam would become completely ineffective.
Yep, absolutely.
So just saying, if you know it's a scam, hit one, start talking, like make them waste their time.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I worked in telemarketing, so I'm just jaded. I don't want to be near the phone. But like, yeah, man, that's yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to that audio several times. I even sent it to my father and stuff, and I was like, you got to listen to this, because especially like of all people, it's like the boomers are the ones that are gonna get. I feel like
They're
get totally
very stupid people.
So let me ask you something though, because I did have this on my mind. Do you think that he was somewhat full of shit with what he was telling you about in terms of like the amount of money that he makes and his friends? Like, did you think like how genuine do you think he was being with you?
I think he was being completely genuine in a disingenuous way. So I think he was like, I think a lot of those stories are true, but they're not about him. Like he's taking other people's stories. I think he's telling stories that involve him and giving himself a more central role. I think he's telling stories about things he wants. Like I don't think he bought the car that he said he bought. I don't think he has a McLaren, unless he was talking about the stroller. And I think but I think he wants one. And I think he thinks that if he and I were to meet, by the time we met, he would have a McLaren, So like, I could hear that in the lies. And I think that's, for me, that was what was really interesting was I think he spilled a lot of real truth. Just not necessarily things that, that he was maybe exaggerating his role in them. But there was some stuff that was confirmed. Like he said that they had a $1.2 million transaction waiting at Swan, and Swan confirmed that there was a $1.2 million transaction worth of Bitcoin going out, and they stopped it. They said that they stopped it before the interview was released, but whether that's true or not, I don't think we'll ever know. But I hope that, I've heard from others that there's been a lot of people contacted saying that they were about to send money to these guys. So I don't know, the sheer volume of people that have contacted me or let me know that either the interview helped them or that these guys are, actually took their money. It indicates to me that there's quite a bit of validity to the amounts of money that they're claiming to steal. And I think that's, Renee contacted me, and I said something in the Picard, Renee, the Lightning developer. And I did something in the interview about how, like, way back in the day, like if you're thinking in Bitcoin, for me, like you think, oh, like, you have one Bitcoin, that's not that much, or you have two Bitcoin, that's not that, but these kids are thinking in dollars, right? So they're like, you have $100,000. And I had to apologize because like Renee's like, well, like he's like, I came later, like those those numbers are big for me too. I was like, yeah, I mean, they're big for me too, though. I come from, I'm a former poor kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when I hear the amounts of money in dollars that a Bitcoin is worth, my mind is blown. And
Yeah.
that was kind of what I was trying to convey in that interview, is that like when I realized what one Bitcoin is worth, my mind was blown, because like that's a big score. That's like you think of like these telemarketer scams. Think of the guys who are trying to get you to buy gold. They're trying to get you to spend $3,000. You
Yeah.
know, they're trying to take $3,000 from your grandparents. These guys are taking, you know, one Bitcoin, or what, $68,000 from each person every time they get one Bitcoin. That's a huge amount of money. Like, to everyone who heard that, if they felt the way that Renee did, I was not trying to insult you. I was more saying Bitcoin is out of control. Like the amount of dollars that one Bitcoin is worth is astounding. I can't believe we're here as a group, and watching people get bilked out of their Bitcoin is, for me, it's sad. It's one of the few scams that I don't have a lot of Schadenfreude about, because these people didn't really deserve it. A lot of people get really greedy, and that's why they get scammed. Like they'll send their money to someone who tells them, like, give me your money, I'm going to turn one Bitcoin into two Bitcoin. And they're like, oh, that sounds nice. You know, they send it, and they're like, why didn't I get it back? And the guy just disappeared. Right. So like that one, that's a greed scam. That person
Or he gains
got
and
caught
becomes like a Duke of El Salvador or something like that.
right, a Jew of El Salvador.
A Duke.
Oh, Duke. Sorry.
Junseth.
I'm not the one saying it. Walton's the one saying it.
I think it's a lost in translation here. Like I speak English and you guys don't understand it. It's confusing.
Look, as a tribesman, I can say that I'm not hearing this. I'm just not hearing it.
Tribesman.
Yeah, that's
Spear chucker.
what we call ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, so but I do feel genuinely bad about these people getting stolen from, because they're literally often just trying to protect what they have. They're not trying to grow their wealth. They're not trying to do it, and they just don't understand security. And my critique of those people is the same as my critique of anyone who invests in something they don't understand. Don't do it. If you don't understand it, don't invest. But I do also understand the allure of investing in something like Bitcoin, because, you know, if you understand what it is to a small degree, you realize what we realized, you know, that it's valuable. And if you realize that it's valuable, you can come to the conclusion, some do, that it's underpriced. And so you might put a lot of your money into something like that. And your goal, yes, is
all
to
of it.
gain more spending power. But that's just investing, you know. That I'm not so bothered by that. But like, this is not one of those scams or taking advantage of someone's greed, quite like the other scams. So I do genuinely dislike this scam. Whereas shitcoins, like, you know, the shitcoin stuff is funny, because you see people like, I'm going to put my money into pussy coin. And you're like, pussy coin's a scam. Well, you haven't even looked into it. You're like, but well, it's called pussy coin, man. Like, it's like, I don't have to.
How retarded do you have to be, bro?
Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, then they lose all their money. They come back and like, oh, how could I have known? You're like, I told you.
Think you serious?
Yeah, I did say it. I said it was, and I guess you didn't have to believe me, but yeah, surprise. Yeah, but these guys are, you know, there's a lot of them, and there's other scams too. I was talking to someone, a security researcher, the other day. They're doing a new form of it where they call you up and they go, hey, look, you got money on Coinbase. You should never ever give anyone your seed phrase. You know, so we're going to help you get this off. We don't want your current seed phrase. We're going to help you generate one. And so they'll generate a seed phrase for you, and then have you send to the new seed phrase on your ledger. And then as soon as it gets there, they shoop it right out. And that, you know, so these guys are clever. They're trying to figure out new ways to kind of get people to listen and obey. And they understand the objections. They're just doing a sales cycle and a sales funnel, and they're young. They're really, really young. They're on Telegram, like literally they're in Telegram and other places talking about this stuff that they're doing. So it's a really interesting. It's interesting for me, because the history of Bitcoin Uncensored was to look at ways in which Bitcoin is being used, and we loved criminals. And I still do. I still love looking at criminals. I would love to interview these guys and talk to them about what they're doing in a way that wouldn't get them caught. Although I would like to see them get caught also, but I would also be willing to be, do the other thing. But yeah, they're young kids. They're doing criminal things, and I think they're not sure. They're not really understanding of the gravity of what they're doing. And then in addition, I get the sense that there is a disillusionment of this current generation that I've never seen before in previous generations, that makes them feel as though this is somehow not only deserved, but the only way for them to get by, which is really interesting. I wish that weren't the case.
It actually seems like a sense of entitlement. When I was listening to him explain the stories and explain everything, I really did get that feeling that they were entitled to this because of economic conditions.
Well, the idea now is that like these boomers and the Gen Xers and everyone who's come before us ruined the world, and that's a pretty terrible way to live if you believe that. And that's you can justify a lot of evil if you believe that everyone else before you is Hitler.
Oh yeah, no, I mean we see it, right? The erasing of history. I mean it's insane. The rewriting of history. Like look, if you've ever read George Well 1984, you know how this goes, right? The giant boot stamping on the human face into eternity. So it is really scary shit.
Well, I went through it too. I was, like I said, I was an anarchist. So like, I remember being very, very much in that camp, and sort of I can empathize with where they're coming from. They're just wrong. And I like to walk people through the numbers as to why the boomers didn't destroy the earth, and why the millennials didn't destroy the earth, and why Gen Xers didn't, and why the silent generation didn't. The biggest critique I have right now is that our entire government is made up of octogenarians, and they're all retarded. Like that, this combination is deadly to a country. Yeah,
I mean, I don't like politics. I don't like politicians, but I feel like it's an old age home, and we're watching these senility games. So
I heard Bitcoin Tina, it's the best suggestion you ever had, was that we should set up an old folks home for them, where we just let them pretend like they're still ruling, and they get to like just make laws there. We put nurses, let them retire like an old Kentucky Derby winner at the farm, and let them smear poop in their rooms and be like, that's what a senator does. That's just what you do, like wheel Dianne Feinstein to the fake floor and let her vote. Push the buttons, like drooling and yes. I thought that was a great suggestion. I think that.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it's actually a pretty good idea.
I agree. And well, there was a I don't remember who it was. It was a king of Spain, I think. Yeah. No, there was a king of Spain. I think they did that too, where he was getting senile and old, and they were like, they banished him, sort of. They like brought him to the country, and they were just like, they like. What do they call it? What's the fake UN that kids do? The model UN. They like model UN him, but as a king. They're like, today the situation is this. Here's the board. Let's talk about how to solve it. And he would do it. And then they would just come up with a new one tomorrow, and like let him pretend he thought he was king. And meanwhile, the country was being ruled by like his son or whatever.
But he was not.
I think it was Spain. Yeah, he didn't know. I think that's what we do. I think we just let them think they're doing it. Like, oh, congratulations, you've convicted Trump again.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's been absolutely insane. Also as well on the news. But yes, this is actually, believe it or not, we could go on forever, but this does actually wrap up our fireside chat with Junseth. And we are going to.
I felt like Theodore Roosevelt.
Right there?
Not Theodore.
Or like 10 minutes
FDR.
ago.
Just now, the fireside chat. It was FDR did those, right? I felt just like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Ronald, or was it Reagan? Might have been Reagan. One of the three.
So you'll be really impressed. You'll be really impressed with the graphic that we pop up. It'll make you feel right at home. You'll be like, yeah, this is my jam. All right, guys. It wraps up the fireside chat. And we are going to move it on over to REKT. REKT is brought to you by CypherSafe. Check them out at cyphersafe.io. pet rock enjoyers in disbelief. That's right, guys. This is the Bitcoin Relo Triangle. 16 ounces of solid titanium. Get it at CypherSafe.io. And look out for new products. That's right. They're going to be coming out with something else, something new. Check it out at CypherSafe.io. Welcome back, everyone, to the REKT segment. Let's dive into it. Walton provided us with this. This is a tweet from Bitcoin Mechanic. I am going to go through it, guys, so just bear with me. Let's do this. It's about Bitmain. It's about ASICs. It's about some shady behavior, and it's about some REKT. So let's do it. Here we go. Whoa. Just figured out Bitmain's last fuckery in real time. I'll give you the backstory. Once upon a time, Bitmain was grinding Merkle roots instead of nonces, aka covert ASIC boost. This gave them an advantage over other miners who didn't know this was possible. One company went out of business, KNC, citing the Chinese having some secret advantage we don't know about, which turned out to be true precisely for this reason. It's one of the reasons ASIC manufacture is so centralized today, and this is correctly identified by many as being one of the most vulnerable aspects of the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. The ASIC boost issue came to a head when Bitmain used their influence to block the activation of SegWit, essential for Lightning, because it would break their ability to do it. I was around during this time, and I did not know about this. Anyways, at least covertly. Well, they would still be able to use ASIC boost, but just in an obvious way that would mean everyone else could do it too. They had patented it so as
you missed the ASIC boost controversy?
I kind of did. I think at that time I really didn't understand anything that was going on. Like at that point, like when the Bcash fork happened, I was one of those people that was like, uh-oh. Because I thought BTC was
that
Bitcoin,
makes sense, though.
I was totally confused.
We just found out during the break that you don't know what a merkin is.
That was a merkin.
As I said, the charity makes beards and merkins. You should Google it.
I thought you said wigs.
Beard wigs and merkins.
Okay, I missed the merkins part. Okay. All right, I'm gonna Google it after. Okay, so here we go. When ASIC boost was independently discovered by Greg Maxwell, Bitmain lied and said they weren't, in fact, using it. This was after years of bullshitting about SegWit, with Bitmain pretending to be in favor of alternative scaling solutions or even doing SegWit as a hard fork instead, which would allow them to continue what they were doing. Absolutely nobody believed them, thanks to GMax having reverse engineered one of their ASICs and demonstrating what they had built and tried to keep to themselves. This was a watershed moment in the fork wars where everyone suddenly understood why Bitmain had been making nonsensical arguments against SegWit forever. Bitmain is not just Antpool. It probably accounts for approximately 50% of block templates.
Greater than
50%.
Greater than.
Fine. I was trying to make it not seem too bad, but okay. Greater than 50% of block templates. and manufactures greater than 90% of the mining hardware in the world. Is that okay?
Yeah.
It's okay. So where am I going with all of this? It's about empty blocks. Famously, Ocean has found 3 empty blocks in its short existence, causing many to wrongly make allegations of some sort of issue with the pool itself. This spurred on endless debate about why pools make empty templates in the first place and the actual reason so many of them get solved. In short, pools send empty templates when immediately follow up with full templates so quickly that the interim period accounts for a tiny minority of the empty blocks that get found on the network and none of ours. In all 3 cases with Ocean, the miners solved the empty block longer after already having a full template to work on. So why would an empty block happen a few seconds after the pool had already sent an updated job for a full block? Because Antminer sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
What we didn't realize was they intentionally sucked. Okay.
Well, go back. Is that what he says? They intentionally sucked?
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me. Because I mean, I don't know what he says in the future, but like just to explain the issue, everybody.
Yes.
They basically, the Antminers retain the old templates in memory. They don't dump them very quickly. So they continue mining old templates. So if you got like until they stop, which is, you know, a minute, 2 minutes after they receive the new template, it's a long time, and they just hold that in memory and keep mining on it. So anyhow, let's find out more. I want to hear more.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're almost done. So here we go. Yeah, so they claim, so his claim, it's due to the Antminer firmware. We know this because they just released a fix for it. So Bitmain watched while people kept mining empty blocks. Everyone would wrongly attribute it to the pools, while explainers on popular websites like mempool.space would offer wrong explanations about it happening due to pools being slow to send proper templates, and seemingly no one would understand even the motivation for sending empty templates, let alone the reason they get worked on for so long. But the fix being something that gets released right after Ocean starts explaining what's really going on here is beyond reasonable doubt. They had a fix for it and have been using that fix for their own mining. Now, they can't get away with it because increasingly people are realizing that WhatsApp miners and ASICs from other manufacturers aren't finding anything like the amount of empty blocks because they switch jobs far more quickly, like you said, Junseth. Antminer has a far greater likelihood of finding an empty block because it spends longer working on old jobs. The fact that Bitmain intentionally crippled the firmware on the Antminers they would sell to the world while keeping more functional units for their own mining is typical of everything Bitmain. The conversation around the empty blocks reached the point where people were beginning to realize something was broken with Antminers, and that they just happened to release a fix for it right after people finally started catching wind of what's really going on. So guys, I think there's a lot of REKT. There's obviously Bitmain. You know, there's Bitmain that REKT their customers. Then you have the ultra centralization of the actual hardware as well, the manufacturing, the chip making, all of this. So this is kind of like maybe we're all REKT. Anyways, Junseth.
Full disclosure, I'm an investor in Ocean, but move your miners there. Because honestly, a lot of this stuff, like the reality is the reason I invested is because the guys are honest actors. So like I've been looking at these blocks. I've noticed them as well. And because Ocean is so different, when you see Ocean doing something that is so out of pocket, like mining empty blocks, that you can know something's wrong, because you can mathematically figure out what the likelihood of mining an empty block ought to be, and it's very, very low. And Ocean's not found that many blocks. What is it, 30, 40 since they started? So if they found 40 blocks and 10% of them are empty, that's out of pocket. That makes no sense. And the only reason could have been something like, and Jason has tested a lot of these miners, and the Bitmain ones he's noticed they take forever to dump their memory, and that's why. Like, I mean, I think Mechanic's not wrong here. They had a fix and they were holding back the fix from manufactured miners because they then get the full amount of money. And the worst thing is, I think, look, back in Bitcoin history, when miners realized that a pool owned more than 50%, the thing that miners would do would instantly be to switch. And I'm just not seeing that now. And it's become very clear that these companies are sharing templates, sharing backends, sharing something, and that you are mining on a network that I think very, very obviously has more than 50% of the hash rate, and you should switch. That's my pitch. Shilled.
Mononaut, though, I don't know if you know that account, but Mononaut didn't agree necessarily. He thought it was a bit of a stretch, that was the case. But
no one has made this claim. I've heard people say Bitmain sucks. I've heard people say whatever. Yeah. I've not heard anyone make the claim until Jason tested them, and they just now decide to release the fix.
Exactly. So, and this is okay. So look, having worked for giant corporations that create hardware and software, very complex hardware and very complex software, I can tell you that their behavior totally falls in line with, we knew we had a bug, but our dirty laundry wasn't exposed, so we didn't do anything about it until it became too obvious that we couldn't hide it anymore. So it's almost like you don't acknowledge it, you put out a fix, you never did anything. Like, that wasn't something that we knew about. And I've seen this time and time again.
There's an incentive in Bitcoin, right? Like, and you see this whenever there's big.
Yeah.
Whenever there's big drops in ordinals, or there's a lot of money in the next block, some wonky stuff starts to happen, and it's because of the fact that they have more than 50% of the network. That's why they can do it. It becomes a really big problem if you understand Bitcoin. Not so much that unless they might be bad actors who unwind the chain or something, but the reality is that if they own more than 50% of the network, they can do a whole lot of fuckery that would not be acceptable. And whether it's reorgs or selfish mining or whatever the case, and it's a big deal. You shouldn't let miners get to 50%. So now that we are pretty sure, I think was it NVK's post or someone did a bunch of research on each of the pools and template sharing, and they discovered that there's an awful lot of pools that are sharing templates, which is very weird. If you don't understand mining, the way that it works is your miner joins a pool, or you're a solo miner, but let's say pool mining because that's the most common. And the miner sits there talking to the pool, and the pool sends them a template. A template is all of the transactions and all of the header information that they get if they mine the block, if they mine the thing that is in their memory, right? This will be the block against which the number they find is valid. All right. Then they submit that number.
Junseth, guys out there, like what he's saying is be the block that is in her memory.
That's right. Be the block in her memory.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, look, guys, that's going to wrap up REKT. I really appreciate your takes and your insight on this, Junseth. And we're going to move it on over to the Hopium.
Hopium.
This segment brought to you by XLX. Also.
Up next, we have Hopium, sponsored by Proof of Ink. Proof of Ink are a Bitcoin-only merchandise collaboration empire, producing fine articles like the ones you see on the screen right now. If you're, not on the audio-only version of this podcast, here you see the PlebUnderground hoodie. There are, of course, PlebUnderground tees as well, a shirt. You can support the show. You can support Bitcoin-only businesses. You go to proofofinc.com and use the code PLEB for 5.8% off. Once again, that's the code PLEB for 5% off, 5.8% off everything at proofofinc.com. Welcome back to Hopium. I have a couple of stories for you. The first is I don't know, some boomer apparently he's a legendary trader. He looks like a wanker to me. Like apparently he thinks that Bitcoin's going to do very well against gold. Is he like a gold guy? Is that why this is like significant? I don't know why it's significant, but he thinks it's going to do very well. All right, maybe.
He's a good TNA dude. Sorry, TA dude, not TNA.
Tits and ass.
Yeah, he's a good TA dude.
Do you buy gold at all? Are you a gold guy?
No. My father is. My father is a believer of the metals, and that's where I got introduced. Ooh, what is this?
Oh my god!
Gold coin of?
It's an American Eagle, just a quarter or 1/10 of an ounce. American Eagle.
Very nice.
Oh, there you go. Well, ain't a Bitcoin.
No, it sure isn't. Sure isn't. But you could turn it into teeth if you want.
That's true. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so no one cares about predictions.
I mean, look,
really good to know because I don't care either. But,
Peter Brandt,
someone sent me that link, and I thought, I'll share it. I'll be kind to whoever sent me the link.
Oh, you're a jackass. I shared the link with him
so anyway,
because it's Hopium.
Next story. Some scientific company no one's heard of adopted Bitcoin, and apparently their stock's doing well. Oh, it's a slow news week here in Hopium.
Whoa.
Man, so bad we missed out on that stock. I mean,
it would be nice to know ahead of time,
I mean,
So no one cares about that either, and I'm pleased about that because actually there's one story that I wanted to share, and the reason I'm excited about this story is because I think we're at a stage where there are a bunch of really smart technical people in Bitcoin who aren't necessarily like the best educators. And there are also like some people who are kind of, they're getting on, and it's like, who's going to kind of carry the torch for a long term when it comes to Bitcoin and Bitcoin education, and things like this. And I think one way I see that happening is through current educational establishments adopting Bitcoin. I think you're also going to see Bitcoin establishments developing new educational initiatives more and more. So some already exist, but yeah, one traditional university adopting Bitcoin. We have the University of Austin pioneering a Bitcoin endowment fund with Unchained. I'm guessing they're using some sort of collaborative multi-sig. They're going to have $5 million which will remain invested in Bitcoin for at least 5 years. The CEO of Unchained actually donated to Bitcoin $138,000 to kickstart this initiative. Anyway, so it's I'm kind of bullish about that. I think like any many big fiat institutions are very slow to move. Universities are actually often slower than many other ones, not because they're not just like financially regulated. Sorry, not because they're not because they have like additional like financial regulation, though many of them do, but it's more about how the leadership works. The usually at universities, the people who actually have the power are often quite senior in age, and so their views with regards to the world can often be dated, and this is why like many people have many issues with universities. As a consequence, I think they're less inclined to do things like adopting Bitcoin, which is a long-term move, which is a like technology-focused move, which is a move that is perhaps more popular with the younger generation, not so much with the generation that are in charge of well-established educational establishments.
I don't know. I think
Cool.
that's, yeah, I was going to say, I just think that's cool. I think it's awesome that they're doing that. I kind of think that's, to me, I'm actually a little bit more bullish on the universities doing that with endowments than I am with lazy companies that can't produce products and that just buy Bitcoin because they actually have no use case and are struggling. So it's like, oh yeah, we'll buy Bitcoin and make ourselves relevant, and then all the Bitcoiners cheer. Yay.
It's about time preference, right? Like universities do have a low time preference, but they're just, what I'm saying is they're typically dated in their moves because of the way that they're structured.
Yeah.
And so
Agreed.
I think this could be very interesting because I think they're often quick to copy good things that work across to other universities, and so yeah.
Putting money into treasuries as a company makes very little sense to me as well. I'm always baffled by the Bitcoin response to that because Bitcoiners love hearing about that. And it's just, to me, that's like, that money should have been a dividend. I could put it into Bitcoin on my own. Jackass.
So you see, yeah, so that's exactly the case, right? And that's
So
what
do you
people
own
don't
any
understand.
MicroStrategy?
No.
Good.
Oh, I think I have like 0.13 shares or something like that.
Some people will say, it's a leverage play. I'm like, yeah, so like
sounds like some
basically
Robinhood shit.
Basically, anything that buys Bitcoin, if you're buying it, you're doing some sort of like derivative play on Bitcoin. What if that's what you want to do? Go ahead.
Well, MSTR might be a leverage play on Bitcoin, but it's not purely a leverage play on Bitcoin. It's also got an underlying company.
Yeah,
and I have a very specific modality when it comes to companies. I think that companies are risk pools. They should be risking the thing that they're a company about. Like if you're a restaurant, you shouldn't also be like a Bitcoin hedge fund. Doesn't make any sense. You should be risking the risk of like the food industry and everything else. That's the risk you're created to take on.
Kind of like that. That's a very, I feel like it's like a pure take. It's like, yeah, I'm in this business and I'm going to be 100% about this business.
Well, that's what they're obligated to do. That's what the business is supposed to do. You know, a business is. That's why I'm not like conglomerates don't make any sense to me, because the conglomerates are just investment groups about a bunch of businesses that are, you know, risk modalities, and synergies are not very common.
Interesting.
They're basically hedges, right? They're just hedge funds. Like a conglomerate is just like a hedge fund across different industries.
Hedging against themselves, actually. Hedging against themselves in other departments.
In some ways, yeah.
It's kind of weird. You think that's kind of like a symptom of just markets getting more mature, though? I mean,
no,
you know,
I think it's a symptom of bad investment. When people say bad money, I generally cringe, but like it might be a function of rates that are too low and stuff like that. It could very well be. I don't know, but unless there's a synergistic reason to like buy a company, companies should remain separated.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good point. I mean, we've already seen some of the weird problems. Huh. We've already seen some of the weirder problems that happen, though. You know, like with this type of stuff, right? Where all of a sudden they start using, like, let's say, some type of lubricant for food production. You know, and instead, all of a sudden, it replaces proper things like tallow.
Right. Like KY jelly is often substituted with coconut oil.
I don't know that.
I don't think the oil comes from the coconuts.
That's kind of like almond milk, right? There's no milk that comes out of almonds. You can squish an almond all you want. That ain't milk. All right. Walton, you got anything else for the Hopium?
Yeah. So for 2 years running, we've had Friday night tacos in Miami.
What's a taco?
And this year,
taco.
There's going to be a thing in Nashville, right? So there's going to be a pleb barbecue. I will be organizing it. So yeah.
Ooh. Pleb barbecue in Nashville.
Friday night barbecue in Nashville. Yeah. It's gonna be a fun one. I think I'm gonna be tired. I'm gonna have been working all day. But there's another story for another time.
Oh, some other news. This
wraps up the Hopium for this week. And Phil, I guess this wraps up the show. So
that's right.
Yes,
that's right.
Finally.
Well, that's right. But no, hold on, Junseth. Before we go, we got to make sure that people can get in touch with you and bug the shit out. Oh no, wait, they can't DM you. But give them your what's your Twitter handle, or what's the best way?
At Very Small Claims.
Awesome.
At Junseth was destroyed by Twitter. So at Very Small Claims, like small claims court with the word "very" in front of it.
We will be adding that to the show notes. Absolutely.
Cool. Guys, follow me. I say very uninteresting things.
That's not true. He actually
sometimes I say interesting things, but sometimes I say uninteresting things.
Too modest. Guys, wraps up the show. Again, Junseth, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. Walton. No, we're not even doing the rhyme. How do we end it, man? That's it. We're dropping the rhyme. It's just check us out on fountain.fm. You can stream us sats any way you want. Okay? That's it. That's it. We're not single platform anymore. I'm saying forget it.
Rugs me, you fucking shitcoin. All right, yeah. Fuck shitcoins.com. Please like and subscribe. We will see you next week.
Peace.
More toxic than the most toxic Bitcoin maxi ever. They said he's more toxic than the most toxic Bitcoin maxi ever.